When toxic people can't control you, they lie about you. When toxic people can't control you, they lie about you. When toxic people realize they can't control you anymore, they panic. Not because you hurt them, but because you no longer obey their emotional script. Control is their oxygen, and your independence suffocates them. The moment you step out of their grasp, they'll reach for the next weapon they have, your reputation. They'll twist stories, spread lies, and play the victim, all to maintain a sense of power they lost the second you chose peace over chaos. But don't fall into the trap of defending yourself to the wrong audience. People who believe lies without proof were never loyal to your truth in the first place. Stay calm, because their desperation is loud while your silence is powerful. The truth always walks quietly but carries heavy evidence: your growth, your composure, your results. Understand this. When you stop reacting, you become untouchable. Toxic people can't stand emotional maturity because it exposes their immaturity. They need chaos to feel relevant. They'll call you cold, arrogant, or fake simply because you refuse to argue anymore. That's not arrogance. That's self-respect. They'll attack your image because they no longer have access to your emotions. You're no longer giving them control over your peace, and that burns them. When you start setting boundaries, you automatically expose the people who thrived off your lack of them. Let them lie. Let them gossip. You don't need to explain what time will reveal. The truth doesn't chase rumors. It endures. Your silence is your sharpest weapon. When you no longer feed their ego with reactions, you strip them of their power. Don't engage, don't defend, don't explain. Just live. Keep moving forward and let your success make the noise their lies can't silence. Their smear campaigns are nothing but emotional warfare. Distractions meant to pull you back into the drama you outgrew. The moment you step out of that battlefield, you win. Remember, peace doesn't mean weakness, it means control. It's the art of not responding when chaos calls your name. You don't heal by explaining your worth. You heal by walking in it. Eventually, they'll expose themselves, not because you fought back, but because you stayed centered. People who play dirty always end up covered in their own mess. Let their lies circulate. Truth has a way of catching up. Every rumor fades when your character stays consistent. And those who once doubted you will see what integrity looks like in real time. Calm, composed, and unbothered. Keep building quietly, and let your growth be the proof. When toxic people can't control you, they lie about you. But when you can control yourself, you destroy their power completely. Your detachment is their downfall. Their lies are proof you're no longer accessible. There comes a point in your growth when silence becomes your strongest language. You no longer explain, defend, or prove anything. You simply pull back your energy, and suddenly, the same people who used to control you start to crumble. Toxic people can't stand losing access to you. Control is their currency, and the moment you stop giving them attention, they go bankrupt. They'll lie, twist facts, and create a story that paints you as the problem, because in their mind, if they can't control the truth, they'll control the narrative. But here's the truth: their lies are proof of your evolution. They're not mad because you changed. They're mad because you no longer allow them to use you. They can't reach you, so they try to ruin you. That's how control operates when it's dying. When you step out of manipulation, you expose insecurity. Toxic people depend on access to your emotions, your reactions, your kindness, your need to explain. They study what makes you respond, then use it to keep you trapped. But the moment you recognize the pattern, you stop participating. You detach, not out of arrogance, but out of awareness. You see through their games. You stop letting guilt guide your decisions. And that's when their behavior changes. Not because they've grown, but because they've lost their grip on you. They start talking. They invent stories to make themselves look like victims of your coldness, your attitude, your change. But in reality, they're reacting to a truth they can't face. You're no longer available to be controlled. Every lie they tell is a reflection of how much power they've lost. You don't have to fight it. You don't have to chase rumors or prove yourself to people who prefer gossip over truth. Those who know you won't believe the noise. Those who believe the noise never really knew you. When you understand this, peace becomes easy. The lies they spread are their way of holding on to relevance in your story. But here's the thing, you don't owe anyone an explanation for how you protect your peace. You've outgrown conversations that drain your energy. You've stopped explaining boundaries to people who benefit from crossing them. That's growth. So let them talk. Let them twist. Let them try to rewrite the story. You stay still. You stay calm. Because the truth always moves slower but lasts longer. It's not your job to correct every lie. It's your job to live in such a way that truth corrects it for you. The most dangerous person to a toxic mind is the one who no longer reacts. When you detach, you remove their ability to trigger you. You become unpredictable. You become boring to their drama. They need your reaction to feel significant. And when you stop giving it, they'll try to get attention another way. That's when the lies start multiplying. But remember, every lie they tell about you adds one more layer to their exposure. Eventually, people will notice the pattern. Your silence will speak louder than their stories ever could. Real power is emotional control, knowing what deserves your energy and what deserves your absence. You don't heal by arguing with liars. You heal by mastering yourself. You don't win by fighting for your reputation. You win by continuing to live with integrity. Because time has a way of revealing who was honest and who was pretending. Every season will show you who was with you for truth and who was only there for control. Don't let bitterness make you forget your growth. Don't lower your standards just to prove you're right. The moment you choose peace over reaction, you take your power back, and that's what toxic people can't handle. You're calm. They expected chaos. They wanted you angry, explaining, overreacting. But instead you're focused, disciplined, and distant. You've chosen self, respect over validation. That's why their lies sound so desperate. Because they're losing control. You're teaching them a lesson they never thought they'd learn. That your energy is a privilege, not a right. You can't control what they say, but you can control what you allow. You can't stop their lies, but you can stop giving them an audience. Eventually, their words will fade, but your strength will remain. When they realize you've truly moved on, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, they'll panic. They'll throw your name around to feel relevant, but you'll be too far ahead to notice. Keep your eyes on your growth, not their gossip. Every lie they tell is a confirmation that your silence is working. Because if you were still the old you, the one who reacted, explained, tried to please, they wouldn't need to lie. But you're not that person anymore. You've evolved. You've chosen dignity over drama. So wear your peace like armor. Protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. The lies they tell say more about them than they ever could about you. You don't need to respond. You just need to keep becoming everything they said you couldn't be. Their stories will fade, but your truth will stand. Because when toxic people can't control you anymore, their lies become their only proof that you've escaped their grip. And that's the most powerful evidence of all. They attack the image they can't influence. The moment you stop being emotionally available to toxic people, they go into panic mode. They can't control you anymore. So they try to control how others see you. When manipulation stops working in private, they launch a public performance. They start attacking your image, your name, your reputation, because that's the only access left. Understand this. When people lose control over your mind, they try to damage your mirror. They want the world to see you the way they feel about you. Through bitterness, jealousy, and fear, they can't influence who you are anymore, so they try to influence how others perceive you. But remember, reputation built on lies doesn't last. Truth always outruns deception, even if it starts late. When someone attacks your character after losing access to you, that's not betrayal, that's exposure. You're witnessing their true self. Once they can't benefit from yours, they'll start painting you as the villain, because that helps them play the victim. It gives them sympathy, attention, and a sense of moral superiority. They'll say you've changed, that you've become distant or fake. But the truth is, you just stopped entertaining disrespect. You stopped explaining what they refused to understand, and that's what drives them crazy. Your peace is louder than their noise. They can't stand that you've found happiness without their involvement. So they attack your character to feel relevant again. But maturity is knowing you don't have to respond. You let their lies echo in rooms you no longer walk into. Every time someone lies about you, it's a reflection of how powerless they've become. They're angry that their words no longer shape your reality, so they throw them at your reputation hoping to cause damage. But the truth doesn't need defending. It needs consistency. And consistency is exactly what they lack. When you stay grounded, your actions disprove their words over time. People start to notice that their story doesn't match your character. They begin to see the contrast between who you are and what's being said. That's when the liar begins to look foolish. Not you. You don't need to shout your truth. You just need to live it long enough for it to reveal itself. Toxic people love performance. They feed off reaction. They want to see you defend yourself, get angry, cry, break, because that gives them proof they still matter. Don't give them that satisfaction. Stay silent. Let your peace confuse them. Silence makes manipulators uncomfortable because it shows you're no longer under their emotional control. You've taken back your power, and nothing scares a toxic person more than someone they can't provoke. When you stop reacting, you stop fueling their chaos. You turn their drama into background noise. You become the calm in the storm, and that's exactly what makes you untouchable. Your reputation doesn't belong to those who gossip. It belongs to those who know you. The people who matter don't listen to rumors. They watch how you move, how you treat others, how you carry yourself when no one's watching. That's what real character is built on. Don't waste your peace trying to convince people who only want a reason to doubt you. If they can be influenced by lies, they were never meant to walk your truth. Let the wrong ones leave with the wrong story. Your energy isn't for convincing, it's for creating. Keep working, keep shining, keep growing. Time will expose the truth without you saying a word. Understand that when they attack your image, it's not about you. It's about their loss of control. You've become a mirror that reflects their insecurity. You remind them of what they couldn't manipulate. So instead of facing their own reflection, they try to shatter yours. Don't take it personally. People who gossip about you behind your back are just acknowledging your distance. They're confirming that they no longer have a seat at your table. And once they realize they can't affect your peace, they'll eventually move on to someone else they can control. That's the cycle of toxic behavior. It feeds on attention, dies in silence. Don't try to clear your name. Time does that better than words ever could. Truth has patience, lies have expiration dates. When you remain consistent, composed, and grounded, the contrast becomes undeniable. People start to see who's real and who's performing. So instead of fighting the false image they've created, keep building the real one through your actions. You'll notice something powerful. Their lies start losing power the moment you stop reacting. Your energy becomes your shield. Your silence becomes your statement, and your growth becomes your revenge. The most dangerous kind of strength is calm strength, the kind that doesn't announce itself, doesn't argue, doesn't need to prove. It just exists. And that's what drives liars insane. They expect destruction, but you bring discipline. They expect chaos, but you bring control. They expect tears, but you bring peace. That contrast is what ultimately destroys them. Because people who live in lies can't survive around those who live in truth. You've become proof of that. So when they attack your image, don't panic. Understand that your growth is what triggered it. Their lies are a complement to your strength. They wouldn't attack what wasn't powerful. So walk with your head high. Don't let their words shake your foundation. You don't need to prove you're good. Your peace already does that. You don't need to clap back. Your silence already exposes them. The truth is, toxic people can't handle losing control, so they'll destroy the reflection of who they used to manipulate. But no matter how much dirt they throw, it can't bury light. Keep standing tall. Keep shining. Because the image they attack isn't who you are. It's who they can't control anymore, and that's your ultimate victory. Stay composed. Never defend. Just demonstrate. One of the most powerful things you'll ever learn is that you don't have to defend yourself to anyone. You don't owe explanations to those committed to misunderstanding you. You don't have to chase rumors, prove your purity, or beg for belief. The truth is, when you're calm in the face of lies, disrespect, or manipulation, you win, because emotional control is strength disguised as silence. Staying composed when chaos tries to pull you in is the purest form of power. Toxic people thrive on your reactions. They feed off your emotions. They want to see you crumble, cry, over-explain. Anything that shows they still have access to your peace. But when you stop responding and start demonstrating through your actions, you take back control. Your composure confuses them. It's unsettling for a manipulator when the person they used to control no longer plays along. They throw bait, comments, rumors, subtle digs, just to get you to react. But your silence shows growth. Your calm says, you don't have that power anymore. You see, when you stop defending yourself, you force the truth to speak for you. Real strength doesn't scream. It shows up every day with grace, consistency, and results. The world doesn't need you to tell your side, it needs you to live it. Over time, the truth becomes undeniable. People eventually realize who was lying, who was pretending, and who was quietly walking in integrity the whole time. When you stay composed, you're not weak, you're wise. You've learned that reacting emotionally only validates their game. Toxic people want to see you lose your cool so they can twist it into a story that makes them look innocent. Don't give them that script. Every reaction you give them becomes a scene in their performance. The only way to end the show is to stop showing up. Learn to respond with discipline, not emotion. Sometimes the most mature thing you can do is say nothing. Silence doesn't mean surrender, it means strategy. It means you understand that your peace is more valuable than your point. You can't fight lies with noise. You fight them with time and truth. You don't prove your worth by talking, you prove it by living in alignment. The loudest person in the room is usually the weakest. But the one who stays still, focused, and unbothered, that's the one who holds real power. You demonstrate your truth by continuing to grow, evolve, and succeed despite what's said about you. You show people what self-respect looks like when you refuse to beg for understanding. Because peace doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being real. It comes from knowing who you are even when others try to distort it. When someone lies about you, remember, it's not your job to fix their narrative. People will see what they want to see. Some will cling to lies because truth threatens their comfort. Others will silently observe and realize who you really are over time. Either way, your character doesn't depend on their perspective. It depends on your consistency. Keep showing up with kindness. Keep standing firm in your values. Keep letting your results do the talking. Every time you rise above the noise, you teach the world a lesson in self-control. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you remind yourself that peace is your priority. Defending yourself drains you, demonstrating builds you. There's a difference between fighting for truth and feeding drama. One strengthens your integrity, the other steals your energy. You can't heal if you're constantly explaining yourself to people who benefit from your confusion. Let your silence be your boundary. Let your actions be your evidence. When you stay composed, you stay focused. You stop letting emotional bait pull you into pointless battles. And that's where your power grows, in restraint. People often mistake silence for weakness, but it's the exact opposite. Silence is mastery. It's knowing that truth doesn't need urgency. It needs patience. The calmest person in the room is always the most powerful one. Because while everyone else is busy reacting, you're observing, you're thinking. You're protecting your peace. And in that stillness, you gain clarity. You start realizing that not every attack deserves attention, not every accusation deserves an answer, and not every lie deserves correction. Sometimes, the best clapback is elevation. Let your success make the noise their lies can't silence. Let your growth disprove every rumor. When they go low, you rise, not out of pride, but out of purpose. You have bigger things to build than a defense. Eventually, the truth always catches up. Lies have short legs. They can't run forever. People who lied about you will reveal themselves without your help. Their own inconsistency will betray them. And when that happens, your calm will be remembered. The same people who doubted you will start to notice how you never lost control. They'll remember how you stayed grounded, graceful, and focused on what mattered. That's the mark of real strength, not revenge, not reaction, but restraint. So stay composed, don't argue, don't defend. Just demonstrate. Let your actions become your loudest statement. Let your growth silence every false word. Your peace is your power. Your discipline is your dominance, and your calm is your crown. Because when the world expects chaos, and you show up with composure, you don't just win the battle, you redefine the game. Smear campaigns are emotional warfare. When toxic people can't control you, they don't just lie. They strategize. They turn your peace into their enemy, and start recruiting others to join their war. That's when the smear campaign begins. It's not gossip, it's psychological warfare. A calculated attempt to isolate you, discredit you, and make you question your own reality. They twist truths, exaggerate mistakes, and fabricate stories, all to manipulate perception. They're not after truth, they're after power. Because once you stop reacting to them directly, they attack you indirectly. They can't reach you anymore, so they aim to turn others against you. That's how emotional warfare works. It's never about reality, it's about control through illusion. The most dangerous part of a smear campaign is that it's subtle. It starts with small hints, little comments, quiet whispers like, "I don't want to say too much, but," or, "I used to really like them, until I saw their true colors." Toxic people know how to plant seeds of doubt. They disguise their manipulation as concern and play innocent while their lies spread. They create confusion because confusion keeps them in control. But here's the truth. You can't fight a smear campaign by chasing rumors. The more you defend, the more you look guilty. The more you explain, the more they twist your words. You don't win this kind of battle by shouting louder. You win it by becoming unshakable. Emotional warfare feeds on your reaction. It's designed to pull you into emotional chaos so you self-destruct. That's why the best strategy is composure. Your calmness isn't weakness. It's intelligence. It's your refusal to play a game where the rules are built against you. Every time you respond with silence, you break their cycle. Every time you keep living your life and focusing on your growth, you take back the power they tried to steal. The smear campaign loses momentum when you stop participating, because manipulation dies when attention fades. You starve it with indifference. Understand this. Smear campaigns aren't personal, they're predictable. They're a reflection of the manipulator's insecurity. They can't stand that you've detached, so they create a false reality where they're the victim and you're the villain. They want validation, sympathy, and control over the narrative. But you're not here to manage their image of you, you're here to protect your peace. Let people believe what they want. Truth doesn't need defending. It needs patience. People who know your heart don't need explanations, and people who believe lies don't deserve them. Your silence is your filter. It separates the real from the fake. A smear campaign is meant to make you look unstable, bitter, or arrogant. But only if you play into it. They'll say you've changed, that you're acting distant, that you're not the same anymore. But the reality is, you've simply healed beyond their manipulation. You've chosen self-respect over validation. You're no longer emotionally available for abuse. They don't hate you for leaving. They hate that you left with peace. They want you angry, reactive, desperate to be understood. Don't give them that satisfaction. You don't heal by proving your truth to a crowd. You heal by embodying it quietly. Let them perform. You stay present. This is emotional warfare, not because they can destroy you, but because they want to see if you'll destroy yourself trying to fight back. But you're wiser now. You know that silence speaks louder than statements. You know that peace is louder than panic. You know that real power doesn't announce itself. It simply moves forward. So protect your energy like it's sacred. Don't engage with their audience. Don't scroll through their drama. Don't correct every misconception. Stay focused on your goals, your discipline, your growth. You're not in competition with their lies. You're in alignment with your truth. Eventually, their mask will crack. Every manipulator exposes themselves over time because deceit requires constant performance, and no one can keep up with their lies forever. People will start noticing the inconsistencies. They'll see that their story changes depending on who they talk to. They'll see that the villain they describe doesn't act like one. That's when truth begins to surface. Not because you defended yourself, but because you didn't need to. The calm consistency of your character becomes undeniable, and the same voices that once echoed lies will eventually go silent. You must understand, your reputation is not your responsibility, your integrity is. Let them talk. Let them twist. While they waste time spreading falsehoods, you'll be too busy building something real. You'll be turning your pain into wisdom, your experience into elevation. You don't win emotional warfare by destroying others, you win by refusing to become like them. Don't match their energy, master yours. Protect your name not by fighting for it, but by living in a way that truth naturally defends it. The smear campaign isn't proof of your weakness. It's proof of your impact. Nobody spreads lies about someone irrelevant. You became their topic because you became their loss. So instead of being angry, be aware. Instead of defending, be disciplined. Remember, peace is not passive. It's power under control. Every attack on your character is a reminder that you've evolved beyond their manipulation. And evolution always threatens those who refuse to grow. So hold your head high. Don't let their noise distract your purpose. You are not what they say. You are what you consistently show. Keep your peace sacred, your words minimal, and your energy clean. The truth will handle the rest. Because no matter how many lies they spread, time will always expose them. And your silence will always protect you. Smear campaigns are emotional warfare, but peace is the weapon that always wins. Your detachment is their downfall. Detachment is not coldness. It's not arrogance, cruelty, or indifference. It's mastery. It's the point where you stop bleeding energy into people who feed on reaction. Detachment is what happens when you finally realize that your peace is more valuable than their attention. Toxic people crave control. They survive on emotional chaos. When they can trigger you, they feel relevant. When they can't, they start to wither. That's why your detachment hurts them more than your anger ever could. Anger still means you care. Reaction still gives them power. But when you stop explaining, stop defending, and stop engaging, that's when they truly lose. Because they can't control what they can't reach. Your detachment is not a sign of weakness. It's proof of growth. You've learned the difference between reacting and responding, between connection and attachment. You've learned that peace is not found in convincing others to see your worth. It's found in recognizing it yourself. Toxic people hate that. They hate when you no longer need their validation, when their manipulation stops working, when your emotions no longer dance to their rhythm. They start to unravel. They become louder, pettier, more desperate. Because the power dynamic has shifted. You no longer feed their ego, and that starves their control. They may try to provoke you through lies, guilt, or attention games. But your silence, your calm, and your distance, those become the walls they can't climb. See, when you were emotional, you were predictable. They knew what button to push, what story to tell, what guilt to trigger. But now, your peace has become your protection. You don't chase. You don't argue. You don't explain. You simply observe and detach. And that's what destroys them. Not because you're cruel, but because they can't handle not being in control. Toxic people are addicted to emotional reaction. It's how they feel powerful. But when you stop feeding them that energy, they start experiencing emotional withdrawal. They scramble for attention, spreading lies, playing victim, anything to get you to re-engage. That's when you must stay firm. Don't step back into chaos just to prove a point. Detachment means you've learned to win by walking away. It's not easy. Detachment takes strength. It means you must sit with discomfort, the silence, the misunderstanding, the false narratives. But that silence is sacred. It's where your healing happens. You learn to breathe again without their influence. You start rebuilding yourself piece by piece, not for revenge but for renewal. Because detachment is not about them. It's about you. It's about reclaiming the energy you used to waste trying to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding you. You're no longer seeking closure from chaos. You've realized closure doesn't come from confrontation. It comes from acceptance. You've accepted that you can't change how others behave, but you can control how you respond. And that's real freedom. Your detachment is their downfall because it breaks their illusion of power. They wanted you emotional, desperate, doubting yourself, because that's when they felt superior. But when you detach, you strip them of that illusion. You show them that their words don't move you, their silence doesn't shake you, and their manipulation doesn't reach you anymore. They start to see that the version of you they once controlled no longer exists. You've outgrown their tactics. You've evolved beyond their emotional reach. And that's when they realize the truth. They never had power, they only had access. Once you took that access away, they lost everything. When you detach, something magical happens. You start seeing clearly. The fog of manipulation lifts. You notice how much peace feels like power. You stop needing validation, and your boundaries become sacred. You begin to attract calm, purpose-driven connections instead of chaotic, draining ones. You no longer chase, because you understand that what's meant for you won't require begging. You no longer explain, because your peace speaks for itself. And the same people who once drained you will eventually come back confused, wondering why you're not reacting anymore. But by then, you've changed too much to care. You don't hate them, you're just done feeding energy into dysfunction. Toxic people confuse control with connection. They think if they can provoke a reaction, they still matter. But true detachment teaches you that silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. You've stopped playing a losing game. You've learned that no one deserves the version of you that breaks just to keep others comfortable. You've learned to walk away not because you stopped caring, but because you started caring about yourself more. That's not selfish. That's self-respect. And that's the part that destroys them most. You're no longer accessible to their chaos, and that makes you powerful in a way they can't comprehend. Over time, your detachment becomes your peace becomes your glow, and your glow becomes your revenge. Because nothing bothers toxic people more than watching someone they tried to break become unbothered. They'll watch you rise in silence, confused as to how you're still thriving without their validation. But that's the beauty of detachment. It's silent transformation. You don't announce it, you don't prove it, you just evolve, and in that evolution, they lose all power. So protect your peace fiercely. Don't let anyone trick you into breaking your calm. When they throw lies, stay centered. When they provoke, stay still. When they expect reaction, give them distance. That's how you win. Detachment doesn't mean you don't feel, it means you choose what's worth feeling. It means you're no longer controlled by emotion, but guided by purpose. And once you master that, you're untouchable. Because here's the truth, toxic people can't destroy you, they can only destroy your peace if you let them. But when you detach, you take back everything. Your power, your focus, your joy. You become the calm in the chaos, the storm they can't predict, the silence that exposes their noise. Your detachment is their downfall. Not because you punished them, but because you finally honored yourself.